Good evening. Just a second as we let Zoom catch up with all the people coming into the webinar right now. Thank you for coming, and we'll be with you in just a second. All right, well, with that, welcome everybody to the 2002 Stella Zhang New Venture Competition. We are excited to have you at the kickoff. We have a delightful opportunity to speak with all of you about the opportunities that we're going to have in this competition. But let's start off with some fun video for all of us to enjoy. Here we go.
We're going to help you prepare to become an entrepreneur and an innovator. We're going to work with you through workshops. We're going to let you practice things. You're going to get opportunities to engage, rather than just thinking of it as some far-off concept that, well, you know, people in Silicon Valley get to do that. No, this you're going to actually get to prepare, and then you're actually going to take and experience what it's like to be in front of judges, to be in front of a pitch panel, to be a part of entrepreneurship.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. We are so excited to have you here at the 2022 New Venture Competition. We have some exciting things that have happened, not the least of which is we're back to being virtual. We were all excited about having everyone together, but of course we're gonna fight off the perils of the world around us. For those of you who didn't catch it in the video, my name is David Ochi. I'm an MBA from a long time ago, before it was called Mirage, to try to put a benchmark on how old I am. I'm so excited to be here as part of the New Venture Competition Organizing Committee and walk you through some of the opportunities that you're going to find with this great competition. To give you an idea of what last year looked like, we had, despite COVID and all the challenges that came with it, we still had 85 teams submit a concept paper in the first round, and we're going to go into all those details. And from those, 54 teams were able to make the cut into that next round. That left us then with 10 grand finale finalists, some of whom are with us today and you're going to hear from in a minute. And we had 300 participants. Again, despite the challenges of COVID, like entrepreneurs do, we stepped up and we really made the most of the opportunities. We had 39 coaches, 59 judges. It was a wonderful event. And this year is proving itself to be even better. So what I want to take a minute to do is give you a chance to hear, rather than listen to me about the details, which we'll get into. Let's hear from some of the past winners, give them a few minutes each to walk us through. And to start us off, one of our favorite entrepreneurs on campus, Derek, would you mind giving us an introduction of yourself and a little bit about the competition as you worked on it through Circular? Derek, it's all you.
Yeah, thanks.
I believe that would be Caleb.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Sorry, Caleb, I'm not even reading the slides.
So yeah, thanks. No, you know, I'll start with my pitch for what we did, what we've developed over the past year, starting with the New Venture Competition. So, I mean, are you going to eat all that? Almost half of all food in the US is wasted, going to the dump, rotting into the third largest emitter of greenhouse gas. And at the same time, 1 in 8 people right here in California don't have enough food to eat. I'm Caleb with Circular. We're a social enterprise focused on reversing the climate crisis and food insecurity in one fell swoop. We pick up food waste and convert it to our products of rich organic fertilizer and insect protein, part of a $1 billion market with a 27% CAGR. That's then used to grow healthy, regenerated food. We use AI and automation to harness natural, biological, bacterial, and fungal processes in a total paradigm shift to the food industry. We have a prototype reactor and agreements with over 20 restaurants. Our team won the UCI New Venture Competition last year for social enterprises. And since then, I've actually left my full-time career as a structural engineer to pursue this startup full-time. And since the competition, we've been accepted into the current cohorts of UCI's Wayfinder Incubator and also the RevHub OC Incubator, which focuses on building social impact startups. Climate action is just good business. And we need funding to build a full-scale facility, and together we can all heal the planet, our soil, and our people. So, I mean, that's my pitch. And that's what I've refined over the course of this UCI New Venture Competition. It really gave me the tools and experience and mentorship to get to that point. I mean, I started from nothing. Actually, this was my second time entering the competition in 2021. My first submission the year before, I didn't even get through the concept paper phase. But I saw it as a chance for a 6-month business crash course. So I still attended all the workshops, even though I didn't get through the first time, and incorporated all that I learned into my approach for the next year. And I stuck around afterward to talk to mentors, short pitch them my idea, get their feedback, and then reformulated that all the next year using everything I learned with a better team and a lot more gumption. So be persistent and don't give up. Attend all the sessions. They give you valuable pieces of the puzzle to be successful in this competition. What does it take to be successful in this competition? They asked me to say some things. I mean, obviously you need a good idea, right? But there's a lot more than that. Is it already out there? Do people really want it? Do you bring something unique to the table? Will it actually make money and more a profit? Each of these is, a workshop session that goes into it a lot more in depth. It will help you a lot. You need a solid and diverse team of perspectives. You need solid and experienced mentors. They help out a lot. But be flexible, humble, and iterate. But at the same time, be confident in the strength of your idea. And most of all, remember, I mean, this is a competition. Play by the rules and play the people. Number one, check all the boxes. Look at the scoring rubrics for the concept paper, for the 10-minute pitch. Judges are looking at a ton of submissions. So make it easy on them to give you a good score. If you don't clearly and easily check the box, or you make them look too hard for it, you're not going to get the results you want. It seems perfunctory, but welcome to the business world. That's exactly how it works in the real world too. And then remember, this is a competition judged by people. Figure out how to describe what you're doing in the simplest and shortest way possible while still being emotionally compelling. Even though facts are important, people make decisions more based on emotion than logic. So tell a story, make it super interesting. And then my last little tip is that helps a lot of us without a graphic design background is Canva. It's an amazing tool for both the concept paper and the pitch presentation. So yeah, I wish everybody the best of success. Work hard and you'll see good results.
Thank you, Caleb. And again, my apologies on the introduction. And this brings up a great point. Someone asked in the chat window, will this be shared at the end of this event? Absolutely. This will all be up on the website, and we'll be sharing that link with you as we go through this. And Caleb, great advice on Canva. I threw that in the chat window for us as well, because Canva is magical for people who just are like me and don't have that talent to be able to do graphic design and all of that. So I will take this moment to say this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions. There is a Q&A box that we can try to use. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through, and I'll try to pepper in some answers as we go. And we'll also have time at the end to go through a Q&A as well for you. So thank you again, Caleb, for all of your thoughts. And now we'd like to move over to Melanie, who also won first place in the competition last year and has done great work. Melanie, let's turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to deliver my quick little elevator pitch so that you all know a little bit more about Shaka. What do you think is the biggest challenge that businesses are facing today? The media says that it's attracting and retaining talent. And when you talk to business leaders, they certainly agree. In fact, 2021 has been nominated the year of the Great Resignation. Over a quarter of the workforce changed jobs. And for the first time in over 10 years, employee engagement scores have actually decreased year over year. Only 34% of employees say that they're engaged at work. This is why we created Shaka, an online platform that helps companies boost culture and drive engagement no matter where their employees are located. Our software facilitates team-based challenges. It schedules coffee chats between new colleagues, and it creates communities where employees at your company can find coworkers with mutual interests or backgrounds to them. These are social experiences that are no longer happening in remote and hybrid workplaces without Shaka. We are tackling a $2.5 billion market. Today, we are generating revenues, and we've been backed by a national accelerator. I, like Caleb, have the honor of saying that I actually work on my company full time. It's quite a blessing. Turning into tips for winning. I definitely say your team has a lot to do with whether you win. The judges can tell when you have team members who don't add value and you're just kind of checking the box of, hey, I need a team member, and they aren't able to answer questions on the behalf of your company, or they truly don't know as much as the CEO or main founder does. So make sure that you have a strong team. My next piece of advice is for the next 4 or 5 months, make this business your reality. It's not an idea. If you talk to people like it's an idea, when you pitch, it's going to be clear that it's an idea and not a business. So find proven validation of any sort that you can. For us, we had data from beta clients that validated that our concept was working and that employees were liking it. And we also had signed clients who were paying us at the time. That sort of validation, you don't have to be that far, but any data that you can say proves that people would buy your product or that they have a strong need for it, that validation is going to be really important. You won't get through to the final round without that sort of validation. And then forecast aggressively, but realistically. I think a lot of times the financials are what scares people the most about making a pitch or a pitch deck. And ultimately, run it by as many people as you can. Let them ask you a lot of questions, but you want to paint the picture of how big your business could be without someone immediately looking at it and saying, that's not realistic. So be aggressive, but realistic. Rehearse. So write a script. Don't read the script when you're pitching. Write a script and try to memorize it as closely as you can, and be so comfortable with it that when you do a sentence wrong or you falter, that you can jump right back on track. And even write scripts to questions that you'll be asked. So there was purposely things I left out of my pitch so that I could drive the Q&A. Like, I knew that someone was going to ask that in Q&A because I just know it was a viable part of my pitch that I left out. And I knew they would ask it, and I knew I would nail the answer because I had practiced it, and then it would get me flowing in Q&A so well. I thought Caleb's tip was great around checking the boxes, because you can't move on unless you check the rubric boxes. So just make sure they could love your pitch. And if you didn't answer some of the things that are right there on their scoring sheet, you won't move forward. Lastly, the benefits of participation. So since going through Wayfinder, of course, you're all here to compete for the money. The grand prize completely changed the trajectory of our business, and it allowed us to invest in things we couldn't have invested in before. It helped propel us to the next stage through Wayfinder and then into an accelerator. So ultimately, the money is great, but also the materials you prep are exactly what you need to apply for other programs, to apply for Wayfinder, to apply for funding, to apply for the legal garages that are out there that help startups. They all want to see a concept paper and a pitch deck and hear you pitch in their first meeting. So you're going to use this stuff 100 times. You might as well do it great once and keep all those materials and be able to reuse them. And it really validates going through this program, and being able to place in the top 10 really helps other people validate your idea because you made it so far. That's about all I have. I'll pass it back off.
Thank you, Melanie. That was just drinking from a fire hose of tips and tricks. You're giving away all the secrets. Thank you both to Caleb and to Melanie for sharing this great insight. One of the things we'd like to move on to, we are incredibly blessed to have a dean at the helm of our business school that was appointed just over a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, and has really just been in the process of not only carrying us through the process of COVID adjustments and everything, and really showing some leadership in that, but has really energized the entire School of Business. And so we're very excited about it. Prior to joining Mirage, he served as a pro vice chancellor and Dean of Commerce at the Wellington School of Business and Government at Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand. He's a passionate educator. If you've ever met him, that comes out in the first 30 seconds. He's been recognized for his innovative approaches to business education. He's a past recipient of, I've got this list that goes on forever, University of Maryland, Robert H. Smith School of Business, Crow Teaching Award, Melbourne School of Senior Executive MBA Teaching Award, University of Melbourne Excellence in Innovation, Indigenous Higher Education. And he's got this list that I don't even know if he could remember all of the awards. He's had so many. But if you want to, one of his great things is he's globally recognized as an expert in the area of human resource management. A lot of his research examines the impact of talent pipelines on organizational and community outcomes. And we heard from some of the winners, talent and what you have as your team is really valuable. But when it comes to talent, he's at the top of the Dean game globally. And so we're very blessed to have him. And I'm excited to hear a few words from our Dean, Dean Williamson.
Thank you very much, David. I really appreciate that very warm welcome. Let me start off by saying this is a really exciting activity for me to be a part of. I don't think I was the Dean of the Business School 2 weeks when I started last year, January 1st, and I was asked to come and launch this activity. And it was a great introduction to the Paul Merage School of Business and the energy and excitement. And yes, you could pick up on people's energy and excitement even online. And I should note that I was actually still in New Zealand at that time. And so it was a great way for me to kind of connect. And it told me a lot about the entrepreneurial and innovative spirit of the school. And that was certainly what attracted me to the school. And so for that to be my sort of first experience was really exciting. Let me welcome all the students, all the faculty, all the staff, all the alums who are involved in supporting this program, and other members of the community that are on the Zoom this evening. I certainly should recognize all the sponsors who've got behind our school, who got behind this competition, and I know we're going to recognize them more formally later on in tonight's proceedings. But certainly, I wanted you to know that it is not lost on me as a dean that without your support, without your belief, we would not be able to provide this fantastic activity. And I should also certainly recognize our Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Certainly, just recognize the leadership provided by Professor Imran Kiram and Jen for all the fantastic work that they're doing to facilitate this. This is, if you like, one of the flagship activities of the Merage School. It is something which has had an impact that is tremendous, not just for our school, but for our community. In terms of our school, you'll note that I have this banner next to me, and our tagline, Leadership for the Digital-Driven World. At the heart of that is a focus on preparing individuals who are able to have the skills to take an idea from something that is intangible, something that is aspirational, to something that is real, something that is a product or a service or organization that inspires others. And that's what we hope to be here at the Paul Merage School. And the Stella Zhang New Venture Competition is a perfect example of that. It is one of the mechanisms that allows this to happen for our students. And it's not just the business school students. We had 300 participants last year. The large percentage of those were not business school students formally, which is great that we can make this contribution, not just to our students here in the business school, but to all the students across the campus. And I think it goes even beyond that. We know that the organizations that go through this competition, they go on, they found and they hire individuals, they provide services to our community. They are the thing that allows Orange County and the Southern California region to continue to be an innovative and exciting place to live and to work. I had a fantastic conversation with one of the recipients of one of the winners from a few years ago, who launched the company out of this competition. Baby Box 123 is the name of the company. And just to hear her story about how she started in this competition, she then was in an accelerator and she received funding, and now she's rapidly hiring a staff, and all of that started here. And I'm so proud that our business school could be that safe space for those ideas. So just my advice, you have a world-class infrastructure around you. I cannot think of a more supportive environment for you to get the best out of your idea and for you to form relationships with team members. Like most things in life, you get out of it what you put into it, but know that there's a lot there for you. Take advantage of all the resources that are available. Commit to fighting through the tough patches. There are going to be some days you go, I got other things to do. Commit to fighting through the tough patches. Commit to learning from your colleagues. Open yourself up to, yes, you have an idea, but you don't have every idea. And this is an educational institution. We're about making people get better. But most importantly, enjoy this. This is supposed to be an exciting, challenging, and enjoyable experience, something that you look back on fondly. So again, thank you to everyone who's put in all the effort to allow this to be an opportunity for our students and our participants. I'm very excited as a dean that we have this here in the Palmer School of Business, and I look forward to seeing the outcome and learning the stories of the finalists and the types of organization and ideas that they have. Again, congratulations to everyone for starting off on this journey. I look forward to seeing you on the inside of it.
Thank you, Dean Williamson. If we had the big crowd in front of you, they'd be going wild right now. So thank you again for all your leadership, all of your support, and please keep up the great work. I've only met you a few times, but I can tell you your impact has been rippling throughout, not just the Mirage School, but throughout the campus. So keep up the great work, and thank you again for all of your support. And with that, one of the things we want to mention for sure is that this entire program runs through the Beal Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And we're very blessed for many years to have had Professor Khurram as at the helm of that. And he's a world-renowned expert in design and marketing of products and services, which is pretty relevant for when you're doing a new venture competition. He's the faculty director for the Beal Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. He was 2008 Wall Street Journal's favorite professor in an executive MBA program. Honestly, I did not know that, Imran, and I think that it's time for them to update that and make you the 2022 favorite professor.
It's not me.
What?
It's not me. It's my twin brother.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Well, your twin is amazing. And that twin was also the Bloomberg Business 2006 ranked marketing course. The executive MBA was program for the program. His marketing course was #3, not in California, not in the US, but in the entire world, according to Bloomberg Business Week. What a phenomenal course. And you can hear that when you talk to his alums. He's published more than I think most people have ever even thought about reading articles, let alone publishing them. 50+ articles in journals. I've seen some of the ones of the top journals that are out there. Interestingly, he has a bachelor's in electrical engineering from University of Bombay in India, an MBA from the University of Wisconsin, a master's in statistics, that sounds like a torture chamber to me, and a PhD in business from Stanford University. He's taught at UCLA, New York University, Yale. He's a distinguished professor of marketing here at UCI, which
Enough.
So it's time for me to introduce Imran. He is the blood and soul of the program here. So without further ado, Imran Khurram, our distinguished faculty director.
Thank you very much, David, for this amazing introduction. I don't deserve all these things. As I said, many of these things that David mentioned are really my twin brother. I'm the other twin, the less intelligent, but maybe a little bit more handsome, that's all. Okay. I am just delighted to be here. We've been planning this for a long time. This is so close to my heart. What's my main role here? I raise the money for the prizes because this is so near and dear to my heart, has been for such a long time. But this is not about me. As you know, the NVC, the Stella Zhang New Venture Competition, it takes a village to put this on. Because it takes a village, there are so many people in my mind who I need to thank, but we don't have enough time for that. We've got donors, we've got administrators, we've got volunteers, coaches, judges. We've got the Mirage marketing arm. Too many people to thank. Not enough time. So what I did is I just picked out 7 people. And please, the rest of the people I need to thank and don't have the time for, please forgive me. But I will be thanking you along the way. The 7 people that I picked out. First, Ken Beal. Ken Beal was my ex-student in the mid-80s at the UCLA Anderson School of Management. The Beal Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship is named after Ken Beal. Number 2, and this is the main person I would like to thank this year, Stella Zhang. Stella Zhang came on board this year, and oh my God, I can't tell you how proud I am. She made a very generous donation, and like the Beal Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship is named after Ken Beal, the new venture competition is going to be named after Stella Zhang, the Stella Zhang New Venture Competition. I am so proud of Stella. Do you know why? Because she's one of our own. It's one thing for some other big entrepreneur from somewhere else to for us to name this competition after. But Stella Zhang is one of our own, a FEMBA, fully employed MBA graduate of Mirage, UCI 2005. Oh my God, she stole my heart. Okay. Number 3, Jen Quinn. I hired Jen in November, and boy, she had worked with us in the past, but Jen has just done a tremendous, fabulous job. Number 4, her assistant, Chandra Ramana, who is an MIE student, and I hired to help Jen. These are the 2 people who get all this to happen. They are the doers. As I said, they make it happen. Number 5, 6, and 7 are my precious, precious new venture competition committee. In one word, if I might say what they do, they steer. They steer everything. Dan Jenkins. Love Dan Jenkins. He's been with us for a long time. Well, all 3 have been with us for a long time. Second, David Ochi needs no introduction. He's in charge of all the ceremonies. And Larry Wilk, he's been with us for quite a long time. These 3 people steer this whole new venture competition ship. But all this would not work if it were not for you, the potential participants. I was just so delighted to hear that we have 227 of you sign up, and that sign up list is going up, I'm sure, as we speak. I wish you all the very best. I wish you health, wealth, happiness, and prosperity. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Professor Karim. If you didn't notice the chat window, people were blowing up at you being the best professor, which pretty much is the reputation that you have. So thank you again for all of your work and effort, and for all the support you provide to the program and the competition. And of course, this year we are beyond elated to have a new sponsor that has really is going to just shake up the competition for everybody. Stella actually grew up in China and came to the US in the late 90s. She obtained her MBA from the Paul Merage School of Business in 2005, as you heard. And as the current Chief Operating Officer of American Lending Center based in Long Beach, her vision and leadership have successfully turned the startup into one of the most successful non-bank small business lending institutions in the country over the last decade. The success story of Stella and her husband, John Shen, the founder and partner of ALC, are perfect examples of the American dream in the business world, and we could not be more excited to welcome her to the New Venture Competition. And Stella, we'd love to hear a few words from you. Thank you again for all of your efforts and contributions. And everyone, let's give a warm welcome to Stella Zhang.
Wow. I'm so excited. Thank you for the nice introduction, David. And also thank you, Imran, for the compliment. I'm just so excited to be here, and I appreciate this opportunity to say how I am grateful for the education the Mirage School of Business has offered to the students from all over the world, including myself. I would be nothing without the MBA program. I wouldn't come this far today. So thank you so much, Mirage. And part of what I've learned over the years at Mirage and throughout my career is that the best thing to do as an entrepreneur is to give back and help others. The New Venture Competition helps people in the UCI entrepreneurial ecosystem chase their dreams. So we want to help. We want to make sure this program is getting bigger and stronger. So it is such an honor to engage myself in this incredible program. And I want to thank everybody here, and of course, my professor and close friend, Imran, for introducing this amazing opportunity to me. And I'm so proud of joining the NVC family. And I wish everybody success. And I look forward to the future success and all of the participants of this special event. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stella, and everyone. Even though we're remote, let's give her a big round of applause for all of the efforts that she's put in and the excitement and energy she's bringing to this competition. So thank you to all of our speakers here, the Dean, Professor Karim and Stella, and our two winners from last year. But let's jump in and actually, let's take a quick poll for you in the audience. And then we're gonna jump into the competition details, which I'm sure is what many of you are here for. So Jen, whenever you're ready, let's go and pop that up. So we'll give you guys about 30 seconds. It shouldn't be a trick question for you. The question is, how did you find out about the New Venture Competition and or the Kickoff? You can do multiple choices. It's a multiple choice. You can go ahead and pick which one you recall being the one. We'll give you about another 20 seconds to work through that. This is a competition. The one that wins is going to win $1 million. Asterisk may not be true. You probably won't win $1 million. In fact, now that I think about it, though you might, who knows? But certainly not all of the people voting for these. Actually, it's kind of a close race. I can see it. Most of you probably can't yet, but it's a close race amongst a few different options. One of the things we like you to do, and one of the reasons for looking at this is getting the word out to the competitors and to people who can join your team is one of the best things we can do early on in the competition. So if you have not had a chance to share this with a friend, whether they're a student or not, I highly recommend that you tell them all the exciting things that you heard, share the website with them. We're going to share a bunch of information with you, but it is a great opportunity to use word of mouth because the more people that compete, the more opportunity there is for us to increase the pool prize and all that sort of fun stuff. So with that, Jen, I think we'll give them a 3-second countdown. 1, 2, 3, done. All right, and let's go ahead and share the results with them. Which one pulled it off? It looks like, ooh, barely. The professor pulled it off. See, that's why we have faculty. It's because we're the powerhouse behind this. We're 1% higher than email. So we're just this much better than email that people associate with spam. That's even better. All right. So thank you for sharing that with us. It helps us know which mechanisms are best for sharing the competition information with everyone. All right, so let's jump into the competition overview and let's jump into exactly what's going to happen and the excitement you're going to have as you go through this. So this overview, it gives you an idea. What we're really trying to do is build up the premier venture competition in the country, open to all UCI students, faculty, staff, alumni, researchers, and the community to basically go through a process of forming a team, go create a startup out of it, and let's see if you can get, potentially fund your idea with some prize money and some great connections that'll get you even more seed funding. All of that done within about 5 months, right? And the objectives of why we do this, why an academic institution does this, really is to go through a process of sparking, preparing, and creating experiences for you. Even if you have zero experience in entrepreneurship, know nothing about business, whatever it might be, it's an opportunity to ignite an interest in innovation and entrepreneurship and give you a safe harbor to be able to explore how that works, prepare you so that you're ready and you've learned how you can actually better practice entrepreneurship, help you refine that and apply all the learnings that you're doing, and ultimately build an amazing experience that you will carry throughout your life. I cannot tell you, and I'm sure Professor Karim has had this, and anyone who's competed in the competition, it is the kind of competition that you remember for your life. I actually can tell you that I competed in the second annual one many moons ago, and I remember details about that competition to this day, and it's helped guide a lot of my entrepreneurial experiences. So it's really an opportunity to create those experiences that actually have practical value for many of you to go start a company or to build the skills and entrepreneurial mindset and skill set to be an effective employee, even if you do go work for another company. Right? So there's lots of rules and regulations, but let's highlight a few of them because many of you are wondering, do I qualify? Does this match for me? And what I encourage you again to do on Zoom, there is a Q&A chat button for you. It's different from the chat. If you put questions into the Q&A, we can go through and try to answer those either by text as a response, or I can try to address them verbally. But let's talk about some of the rules. The idea must be an original idea. What do we mean by that? It means that we don't want you stealing ideas from other people. And it's not something where you said, hey, I saw something on Shark Tank, I also want to do that, right? It should be something you came up with. We don't care if you did it in the shower, on the toilet, driving in traffic, whatever it is, you got that idea, talking with your spouse, whatever it was on an airplane, come up with an idea, but it has to have happened after January of 2020, meaning it shouldn't be something you thought of a long time ago. Why do we do that? Well, because we don't want something that someone's been cooking for the last 9 years. And it's like, you're not a startup after 9 years. You may look like one, you may act like one, but you've had 9 years to get past that point. So it's really something we're looking for, newer ideas, ones that have come up in the last couple of years. It should be in roughly pre-incubator form, right? And that pre-incubator form means that it shouldn't be something where you're already major into revenue and you're looking for what we call a Series A, like serious investment of $10 million or something. It should be something where if you can refine it during this process and you get into an incubator like the Wayfinder program over at the Beal Applied Innovation on the backside of campus, that would be a good stepping stone for you. So it should be pre-incubator. You shouldn't have received financial backing exceeding $10,000 by professional third-party incubators or accelerators or existing companies or VCs, that sort of thing, by the time you hit that concept paper submission, which we'll talk about in a sec. So in other words, we're looking for ones that are a little bit earlier than some, right? Than a really well-developed, fundable idea. We're looking for things that are in that idea and pre-incubator stage. This is open to all UCI graduate and undergraduate students. It's open to UCI faculty, staff, and alumni. It's open to the community and people who aren't non-UCI or non-UCI. So what does that mean it's open to? Well, if you add bullet 1 plus bullet 2 plus bullet 3, it equals pretty much everybody. If you have a pulse, you are eligible to compete in the New Venture Competition. Congratulations. Everyone, I'm assuming on this Zoom, is eligible to be a participant in the New Venture Competition. It is one of the questions we get most frequently. The answer is yes. However, there's a little catch, because there always is, isn't there? In the end, when you win the big grand prize and you're there like Caleb and Melanie, right, going, woo, look, we did it, all this hard work paid off, you're going to have at least 2 registered UCI students on the team. So while you can get started in the competition and be a participant in it, you will have to have at least 2 registered students, and your team size must be between 4 and 6 people. Not bigger, not smaller. You're going to have to figure out how to make the team work, and we're going to have some opportunities to network. If we were in person, we'd have this big bash happening where everyone would get to enjoy some refreshments and meet everybody and that sort of thing. But this is an opportunity to begin thinking about how you're going to form those teams, whether it's class project teams, people in your dorm, people at your apartment, whatever it might be. So these are the basic rules and regulations. The way the competition is structured, it's broken down into 5 tracks. And those 5 tracks are business products and services, life sciences, consumer products, social enterprise, and consumer services. And so you're going to have to pick which track you think your product or service best fits. If you tend to be more of a social venture like Caleb with Circular, that might be the best track for you, right? Because he's clearly doing amazing things for the environment. And what you have is picking the track will allow you to get into the right type of judging and the right type of competitors. It's unfair to compare a social enterprise that's trying to have a triple bottom line with a high growth, scalable, cryptocurrency that's trying to just make a ton of money, right, off of something. And they're both valuable businesses, but it's an unfair judging of between the two because they have different objectives. And so how companies go to market, what kind of regulatory interface they're going to have, that's how we designed these competition tracks. We are happy to help you go through that, but you will declare which one you think you are. In each one of those, there's going to be a first and second prize. And the way it works is you end up with a concept paper. The semifinalists will be broken down among these 5 tracks. They'll present in a presentation pitch, and then there's going to be a grand finale. And that grand finale at the end will allow for a grand prize. We'll have a fan favorite, and there's all sorts of in-kind prizes from community members and other partners that help the winners be able to really grow their business beyond the competition. So with that, again, if you have questions, I recommend the Q&A form instead of the chat, but either way is fine. This is an opportunity for us to go into a second poll for you. And this one, I believe, is which track are you considering for the new venture competition? I'm going to throw them back up for you if you'd like, just to give you an idea, a visual of it. But there's a lot of different opportunities. Each track wins the same amount of money, so you don't have to worry about which one's going to yield me the best money. Although it is fair to ask, which track do I think I have the best chances of winning in, is also another fair question, right? So we'll give you about another 10 seconds to make your call. There's nothing that commits you on any of these to these particular choices here. It just gives us an idea as to how balanced or imbalanced we might be looking at this. So we'll give you a 3, a 2, and a 1, and let's go ahead and close the poll and let people see what kind of results we ended up with. And it looks like, wow, it's fairly balanced. That doesn't look overwhelming, but business products and services has the lead, and you can see social enterprise isn't actually that far behind when you really think about it. So it's good to see a great balance. It makes for a competitive competition. So thank you for helping us with that, and that gives us a great guideline. So moving forward, let's describe these rounds for you in a little bit greater detail. So the first is this first round. This is what you're going to be working towards from this point at the kickoff all the way through to this first submission. And the way this works is, again, anyone can submit at this round as long as you have a pulse, you qualify. It's basically 3 pages plus a cover page, right? But it's not an academic paper where it looks like something that, it's got a bunch of citations on the back end of it. It is something between an academic paper that has got some data and has done some research and has some homework and some meat to it. That it's a mix between that and kind of a brochure, something that's a bit more of the marketing flair. It's got maybe a little bit of branding, and you can see one that's an example here that you can't see clearly, but you can see it doesn't look like an academic paper. They've taken the time to build a little bit of graphics, and as was mentioned, Canva is your friend for this sort of thing if you're not a graphic artist. But what we're going to do is we're going to collect all those on March 6th. And we'll have a huge panel of judges that will evaluate them in each track. And then the 8 to 10 best ones are going to end up going on to the next phase. Now, you don't have to do this alone. We help support you through this process. And that starts on January 24th, which is this coming Monday. So mark it in your calendars, pull out your phone right now and say, January 24th, I'm going to be busy in the evening. I believe it's at 5:30. We're going to talk about how to come up with a $1 billion idea and form your winning team. Right. And this is a great opportunity to learn about that. We'll then follow that up with getting that idea and turning it into an actual business. In February, we'll start off with, is there a market for your product? And then on the 15th, you'll have the opportunity to look and see about how do you actually write that winning concept paper? What are the details that are going to make that work? The sign up for workshop 1, that's on January 24th. Jen has just put into the chat window, so I encourage you to do that. And that's that. So there's just real quick before we go on to the next one, there's a couple of questions. There was one person who asked, if a team consists of UCI and non-UCI students and comes up with a novel product or idea, who files the IP and owns it? That is a complicated answer. And I'll tell you this, the best thing you can do is first figure out who those team members are and where the IP is being generated. And then I would actually recommend talking with somebody that's either at Beal Applied Innovation. I would contact Jen or somebody else that works at the Beal Center to have a discussion with a mentor, because IP can get very tricky if you're dealing with people who have responsibilities and obligations to the university or elsewhere. But generally speaking, I'll throw this out. If you are an undergrad and it's only undergrads working on your team, then you are basically cleared. I believe MBAs and MBAs and that sort of thing are also cleared, that they all own their own IP. But there is some gray area. But so I appreciate the question, but it's not necessarily an easy one. And let's move on to the next part, and we'll come back to some other questions here in a sec. So round two is if you make it past that concept paper phase. So you did it, you wrote a 3-page paper that was not blockbuster. It got you into that next round. You don't have to be the best paper. You just need to be in the top 8 to 10, right, in your track. Well, now what happens? We take those 8 to 10, you get 10 minutes to pitch approximately, and you get about 10 minutes for Q&A. You'll be in a boardroom like the picture showing here. There'll be a panel of judges of usually between 8 and 12 or so. The top 2 teams are the ones who are going to move on. So you definitely want to try to be in that top 2 teams to make the finale. That will take place on May 13th. But again, we're going to have a lot of help to get you there. So if you made it past that round, we have a whole series of workshops for you. Now, the great thing is everyone can go to every workshop. You are not limited. You don't have to say, oh man, I didn't quite make the cut, but I really want to learn about how to make money in a startup. Wonderful. Show up to the workshop, and one of the most beneficial things you'll get, a little tip for you, if for whatever reason you don't make it past that first round, show up to the workshops anyway. Because guess what those teams are having to figure out? They're figuring out, oh crud, I made it. I need a team. I've got to have my 2 UCI student minimum. I got to get my 4 people. Okay, I got to show up to the workshops. Next thing you know, you're going to jump onto a team that has made the cut. And that'll be really beneficial for you. But we're going to go through how to go to market, how to make money from it, build that winning pitch deck, and then the specifics of how you can actually pitch and deal with Q&A in a formal manner. And then that will allow you to then get into that semifinal boardroom pitches. Again, it's about 20 minutes. This is the chance. You got 10 competitors fighting for 2 spots. So your odds are actually fairly decent, but it is a heated challenge, that's for sure. One question that did come up was, can you actually apply on 2 projects? And the answer to that is yes, you can apply in 2 projects. The challenge will be you can only win though with 1 project, meaning you can't win in social enterprise and win another one. I think you're limited to only having 1 prize winning, and that's for a variety of reasons. And so that gives you an idea on that. So now let's say you make that cut and you get to that top 2. Congratulations, you are now going to the grand finale. COVID permitting, it is a fun event in a big room. We get some judges that are very, very talented, and investors in that phase are really looking for those opportunities. And those top 10 teams, 2 from each one of those 5 tracks, are going to get 3 minutes to do a Shark Tank type of pitch, right? So no more big slides, no more 10 minutes to kind of walk through everything. It's a fast and furious 3 minutes to really summarize what your opportunity is. You can use some props, and we'll go into some rules about that when we get closer to that. And then you're going to have even more time than you do to pitch to really get grilled by the judges. It is a tremendous amount of fun. It happens in a public forum. So now everyone in the public is allowed to now see these great top 10 teams. So even if you don't make the cut and you're curious, who made it, who beat me in my track, how can I learn from them? This is open to everybody. And this is one of the most exciting events because you're really dealing with the top 10 out of 85 to 100 teams that are now competing for this grand prize. The great thing is everyone who's on that stage is going to win prize money. Meaning there's nobody that goes up there that's going to walk away and say, I did all this work and I got nothing for it, right? And so that makes it for a great opportunity. Again, we're going to prep those teams. There'll be a semifinals boardroom pitch on the 13th, and the grand finale will take place on the 26th. Again, put that in your calendar regardless. I would recommend coming to the event. It'll be in the afternoon sometime. I would recommend putting a hold on the 26th of May for that. So those are the 3 phases. And you can see the crowd gets a little bit smaller as we get to this finale, but it is a tremendous amount of excitement. And with that, let's move on to the last poll, and I'll answer a question or two while people are answering the poll. The poll that I believe we have is, do you currently have an idea? So with that, let me go to some questions here. How do we go about recruiting members? That's a great question. Thank you, Claudia, for asking that. So recruiting members is a challenge always. And when you get out of competition world and you get into a number of opportunities, you'll find that recruiting is one of the hardest things to do. And finding good talent that can stand next to you in an opportunity like this is not always easy. We're going to have some digital ways to do that, and we'll share those in a minute. But another thing to keep in mind is just network all you can. Talk to everyone in your classes. Hey, I'm looking for a this or that. Go online and see people who are, posting to Fiverr. Like you can do all sorts of things. One of the best things you can do is just ask people around you, who do you know that might be able to help me with X? Or I'm looking for somebody who's got computer science skills or marketing skills or finance skills or engineering and 3D development, 3D printing development kind of things. It's a matter of getting out there. I can tell you one thing. If you wait for somebody else to show up to you, you probably won't get very far. Right? So great question, Claudia. Thank you for that. But it takes some process, and we're going to certainly help you get through that. One other question while we close out the poll, Jen, is when do you need to have 2 UCI students? Right? You don't need it at the concept paper phase. You do need it at that semifinal round. So you can get through the concept paper and make the cut, and then you have all the way until that concept paper the boardroom pitch on the 13th, I think is what it was, to be able to take care of getting that team put together. So you'll have a couple of months to try to put those teams together. All right, do we want to take a look at some of the results? And we'll answer some more questions as we go. Very good. Almost 3/4 of you have an idea that you want to work on. That's awesome. Can you compete if you do not have an idea? Anyone want to guess? Yeah. What was the qualification? You need to be a UCI student, staff, faculty, alumni, researcher, or a community member. I essentially said you have to have a pulse. I didn't say you have to have a pulse plus an idea. That is too high of a bar for us to try to set. Let's just go with you have to have a pulse. And you have to submit a concept paper, right? But you don't have to have more than that, certainly at the beginning. So if you don't have an idea today, that's okay. By the time you submit your concept paper, you'll have to have an idea, of course. But by then, you've gone through some workshops, you've had a chance to meet other people, and things will go over well. Very good. Okay. So with that, I want to take there's some more questions, but we'll get through them in a little second here. I want to take a moment because one thing that came up from both of the previous winners that were mentioned that came on is they talked about some tips and tricks. And I want to introduce you to Dan Jenkins, who's on the organizing committee as well. He has been involved in this competition for many moons. He's been involved in tech for 20 years, Dan? Times 2?
Don't give away my age. Yeah, times 2.
Times 2. He's been actively involved in Mirage and Applied Innovation and the Entrepreneur Center. That's how I actually met Dan very early on, was when we launched the Entrepreneur Center, probably now 2014, I think is when that started. Anyway, he has a phenomenal background, but just to highlight 2 things of Dan, and then we want to hear a judge's perspective so you know what the judges are thinking and he can shed some light on that. Dan was one of the people who brought the original digital camera to market. So that thing you have in your phone that now has 2 or 3 of them on the back, the first digital camera he helped bring to market. And he is the co-inventor of the presentation clicker, which you can't see in this little thing, the thing I'd be clicking through on a stage right now. He was a co-inventor of that, and there's a fun story that he won't be able to share at this moment, but at some point you'll get the chance to hear it when you talk with him. But Dan, allow me to turn the floor over to you so you can give us a judge's perspective. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Great. Thanks, David, for the introduction. And I want to welcome all of you. This is always an exciting day for us because it kind of sparks a whole new round of ideas and ideation. And we appreciate you spending time with us this evening. I've been fortunate to be part of this for 11 years now. It's scary to say, but I've also seen it during that time evolve from what was originally a business plan competition, which I hate to say it was kind of dry because it was kind of like a term paper, to what is now the New Venture Competition. And I think the best part of it is that we've expanded it university-wide. So it's no longer confined to just business school students. It's open to everyone. And I think that more fairly represents what startups look like today out there in the working world. You have people from all walks of life with different skill sets. So from a judge's perspective, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek because I've been everything over the years. So I've mentored teams, I've been a judge. For the most part, I've been on the committee. And as a committee member, I typically don't judge anymore because I feel like it's a conflict of interest. However, we also developed the rubric that the judges use to decide who moves forward and who doesn't move forward. So in terms of some of the things that we look for, we're really looking for the viability of your idea. And an idea that you can support through your research and or market validation. Completeness of vision. So it's one thing to have an idea, but it's also another thing to figure out how are we going to get this idea into the market and in front of potential consumers. So we'll help you with all of that from start to finish. How do you go about that? As many people already mentioned, the team dynamic is really critical. And as most of the judges are typically C-level folks who have been in business for a long time. So they can spot these types of things pretty quickly. And what we're looking for a well-rounded team. I will tell you, well, I'll close with that thought. But anyway, so the team dynamic is very key. We want to see that you get along, that you've collaborated, that everyone has pulled their weight. We're not necessarily looking for your idea to be fundable, although sometimes that happens, as you heard from Shaka and from Circular and many other teams. It just is a natural outcome of your team being exposed. But some of the recommendations I can make, and some of these have already been mentioned. Find a good mentor or mentors up front. Mentors can be great because they see what you don't see. They tend to complement your vision with their years of business know-how. So they can provide that yin yang for your team and really be truly helpful. Attend the workshops and mixers. The mixers, especially, I will tell you, that's where a lot of organic conversations happen with potential mentors, advisors, even if they're not ones you work with directly. A lot of great ideas come out there. A lot of ideas get refined there. They're really enjoyable. The other thing I would say is, leverage all the resources at the university. There are so many, starting with even the campus library. And we'll have a session where the research librarian comes in and talks to you about all the various resources at your disposal that you can use to research and validate your idea. Mentors, as I already mentioned, Beal Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Mirage School. Go visit Jen over there. She can help connect you with people. Or reach out to her via email. Also, there's Beal Applied Innovation that's on the Fringe campus, and many of you may not be aware of that, but it's an excellent resource. They put on a lot of seminars and events over time. The last thing I will say to you is put together a complementary team. In other words, if you have a team of all engineers, I hate to tell you this, but you're not going to make it to the grand finale. It just doesn't work. In real life, you at a very minimum need kind of a triumvirate of engineer, developer, ops kind of mentality, as well as that front-facing sales and marketing type mentality. And you put that together, and suddenly you have a nice complementary team. So I encourage you, even though your expertise may be in engineering, use the workshops, use the mixers as an opportunity to meet others from the business school, from the School of Humanities, from other colleges across campus. And in the end here, like the dean said, take a risk, go for it, and just have fun with this. I guarantee you will walk away with a skill set that you didn't have before, and that will be valuable whether or not you take your own startup forward, you join another startup, or you jump into a large corporation. So I wish you all the best, and I look forward to meeting you all in person as soon as we're able to go back to operating that way. Good luck.
Thank you, Dan. Let's give him a big round of applause through our wonderful Zoom technology here. So as you can tell, Dan has a ton of experience in helping to guide some of the nuance and some of the things he points out about getting a mentor, getting in early on getting the team so it's balanced, so it's not purely engineers or purely business or whatever. These are all the kinds of things that judges commonly notice. And so we've had some great thoughts come from that. I think it's time for us to jump into some a couple of last things. One, there's the NVC website, which Jen's going to throw a bunch of links into the window here. Again, all of this will be available on the website. So if you're looking at, hey, what if I miss a workshop or I can't do something, the website's going to be your home base for a lot of that. Jen's information is on that website. And so anything you need, Jen is the person to contact. There are tons of resources available on our campus. One of the greatest blessings we have at UC Irvine is that we have a vibrant ecosystem for entrepreneurship. The Entrepreneur Center, if you haven't heard of it, is right next to the business school in the old Banning Alumni House. It has a lot of opportunities, a lot of support that you can get from the Entrepreneur Center. Beal Applied Innovation is back just by the 73. It has 100,000 square feet dedicated to helping innovation come off the campus and help the local community. Lots of great mentors and opportunities for that. The Beal Center, as we mentioned, Jen is there. It's her full-time job to help you with your business and to make the most of that. One of the great opportunities you heard of from some of the winners that you heard from was the Wayfinder. It's an incubator at the Beal Applied Innovation that really helps take that to the next level. Finding out more about that, even if you go meet some teams, go talk to a Caleb or a Melanie and say, hey, what's it like? What did you do? How did you, who did you meet? What can I do to make the most of that? It's okay to do all that. One of the other things that's wonderful is something called 1 Million Cups. Of course, now it meets virtually for now, but 1 Million Cups happens every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. It's one of almost 300 locations around the country that meets every Wednesday to allow an entrepreneur to meet the community, tell them what they're struggling with, and the community literally comes back and says, here's how we want to help and support you. It is one of the most phenomenal things. I see Caleb shaking his head like, yep, that's right. It is a phenomenal opportunity. We've been running it since 2013. It's been one of the greatest blessings of our ecosystem that we have here. And so I highly recommend, if you just go to 1millioncups.com/Irvine, you'll find it. It meets every Wednesday at 8 a.m. And again, right now it's all through Zoom. And then Dan gave away the secret sauce. The library is one of the best resources. And I know for millennials and Gen Z, they're like, the library? What's that? That's the building we walk past. That's what my grandpa used to use to figure out how to, well, yep, grandpa's evolved. And that place has one of the secret weapons of UCI's ecosystem for entrepreneurship. We actually have 2 librarians that are dedicated to helping you. One is focused purely around business, right? To have a librarian that's dedicated around business is unusual at a university, but we're even double blessed and fortunate because not only do we have someone focused purely on business, we have one that is specifically dedicated to innovation and entrepreneurship. What more could you ask for? Any data point that you are looking for? Hey, how do I find out if a competitor did this? What was the growth rate? What kind of competitors am I looking at? What does the marketplace look like? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. All of that, not only have they created these great links for you to go to and learn about how to get to access to this information. If you're stuck, or more importantly and more appropriate for me, if you're lazy, you click on the link and say, book an appointment, and they help walk you through it. Like, you cannot ask for a better resource than that. It's a wonderful thing. So I highly encourage you to do that. There was a question about getting access to the library. There are some restrictions on certain sorts of databases, but there are a lot of resources and databases that are open to non-UCI students. And so the best thing to do is go to those sites, and they actually identify in all the data sets what is and isn't available. And this is one of the great things about having a team. If you can't get access to it, then you certainly can have somebody else get access to it with you. So some next steps, and then we're going to hear a couple of more tips and points from some winners. If you're looking to join and are looking for team building, consider getting on Discord and Padlet. These are tools that can help you say, hey, I need this. I'm looking for a particular type of person. Help me out. You'd be amazed how many connections happen by someone saying, hey, I don't know who you are, but my roommate does that. Let me introduce you. Right? These sorts of things can be really beneficial. And of course, we mentioned the workshops. I highly recommend those. And then updates, make sure you're setting up for the updates. One of the things that frequently comes up is how does this relate to the Beal Butterworth competition? Some of you are coming from ICS or engineering. That's wonderful. We love having engineers and computer scientists. These are designed to work hand in glove. They're not the same competition, but there is no reason you shouldn't consider trying to compete in both of them. So Beal Butterworth is strictly for UCI students in this comparison chart. Again, you'll have it when we post it after this event, but it's strictly for UCI students versus New Venture, which is open for students and community. In order to compete in Beal and Butterworth, you have to have either an ICS student or an engineering student. Whereas the New Venture competition, you just need a 2-student minimum with a 4-person minimum as well. You are allowed to compete in the competitions in both of them. The focus of judging for Beal Butterworth is more about design and product development, whereas we're looking at new venture creation as part of the New Venture competition. The initial submission, the concept paper that you build that we talked about for the New Venture competition, is you can literally just take the PDF, add a product spec, which is it's usually a page or two, to that concept paper, and you now have your Beal Butterworth submission. We've intentionally overlapped that so that you can just do the concept paper and add a little bit of product spec, and you have your first submission for Beal Butterworth. And then I mentioned progressive elimination. As we mentioned, New Venture competition rules, begins to whittle down the competition into a smaller group of competitors and gets tighter as you go. Whereas Beal Butterworth, everyone competes all the way through demo day through the competition. So I highly encourage you to visit the website, bbcomp.tech.uci.edu. Take a look at the competition. They also have a set of workshops that provide a lot of complementary value. The teams that seem to do really well compete in both because they have amazing products and prototypes, and they've got solid business concepts that merge together and become quite an opportunity. So real quick, if you're not familiar with it, some of you are in this program and others maybe haven't heard of it. We have a Master's in Innovation Entrepreneurship. We want to take a moment to let you see what that's all about.
I'm Chris Bauman, an associate professor here at the Paul Merage School of Business, and I serve as the academic director for this new and exciting program. MIE is unique among all the programs the school offers because it's designed as a partnership between the school and the rich ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship that exists at UCI in Orange County and throughout California. The MIE program offers students countless hands-on, real-world experiences. We directly connect MIE students with people working on developing and commercializing cutting-edge ideas from a wide range of industries, in addition to offering foundational courses taught by world-class academics, serial entrepreneurs, and proven innovators in corporate settings.
To me, the most special thing about the MIE program is my classmates. There's 41 of us, and that makes a very tight-knit community. We share in our successes, we share in our failures, and that makes us stronger as a group, as a collective, and ultimately will make us stronger entrepreneurs.
I highly encourage you to consider the MIE
I'm Chris
as an option if you're an undergrad or you're somebody that would be looking to add a master's program. It is a ton of fun. We have a great faculty, and the students always come out with some phenomenal New Venture competition. So I want to take a few more minutes to go and have 2 more winning perspectives provided. Victoria, I believe you're here. Thank you for your patience, but would love to introduce Victoria. She was first place in consumer services. So I'll turn the floor over to you to give us a couple of minutes of your experience and your success tips.
Thank you so much, David, and thank you to all the speakers today. Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria, and I'm a co-founder of Remsys. We have created an app for college students to generate tailored resumes with just a few clicks. Students can start with a template, add their experiences, and share their resume through Remsys. We have helped hundreds of students create their resumes and get interviews. You can check us out at remsys.app. We participated in the NVC competition last year and placed first in consumer services. During our time at NVC, our team utilized the workshops, met with different mentors, and got feedback on our business plan. We utilized the UCI Library Entrepreneurship resources and met with our mentor regularly to get feedback on our pitch. We learned a lot from our experience, and it gave us the confidence to turn Remsys into a successful product. So my tip of the day to you would be to utilize the resources offered through UCI in the community, network with peers and mentors, and most importantly, have fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You hit them on the head. You've got it, and you've obviously done very well with this. Thank you, Victoria, for your thoughts and insights. Let's get to one last one. Derek, you need no introduction because I've already introduced you. Derek, please share your second place winning in life sciences. Thank you for your time today.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations to all the winners. Our team did not win first place. We actually came in second place in the life sciences. But with that, I would just like to harp, first of all, what we do at Hydrovask is we provide certain injectable biomaterials to regenerate damaged organs, with specifically our first application that we utilized for this business concept was for regenerating damaged heart tissue for patients that succumb to acute myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, and specifically for patients that would otherwise need a heart transplant. So we're developing this, the concept really stemmed a lot from my previous work as a stem cell tissue engineer. I'm a biomedical engineer, PhD. And really, we utilized this competition to really get the exposure that we needed within the UCI community, specifically that of the biomedical community and the stem cell center. And while we still came out with some prize money, which is exciting. Really, what we got throughout the whole entire competition was the specific mentors in place. The mentors that we did have allowed us to really connect with the Octane community within Orange County and get us in front of certain key stakeholders in the regenerative medicine community that is important for us for our partnerships going forward. So with this competition, it really gave us the exposure to get in front of certain key stakeholders, allow us to make certain partnerships within the regenerative medicine community, like that of a prominent regenerative medicine company now within Sand Bio, allowing us to propel us further into our development. And currently, with this exposure with the New Venture Competition, we have also been exposed to the investment community at large, and we are currently excitingly seeking some pre-seed and Series A funding that we are continuing to pitch for and looking to close within this first quarter on this exciting idea. And so I'm happy to answer any other further questions along what we do. But it was exciting to really illustrate this this core scientific concept that came from my biomedical PhD research and allowing to share within the UCI community through the New Venture Competition. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek, and we appreciate your efforts, and I certainly remember the great work you've done. So thank you to both Victoria and Derek for sharing those stories. Derek, you hit on something great, which is if you have questions, we are going to have an opportunity for you to get together after this Zoom. Webinar doesn't allow for us to do it well, but we're going to share another Zoom room. So if you want to meet with some judges, you want to meet with the coaches, maybe talk to some fellow teammates or some of the people who are on the speaking panel today. Many of them are going to go to this other Zoom, which we'll share with you in just a few seconds. So one final thing, a big thank you to the other three members of the NVC committee. Without Jen, Dan, and Larry, this certainly wouldn't happen. Could survive without me, but without Jen, Dan, and Larry, it would not do well. So with that, I would like to thank you for all of you for being here. We'll maybe take just another minute or two to answer a few last questions if you have them. Otherwise, we're going to set you over to another Zoom room if you'd like, so that you can actually meet, mingle. I wish we had, refreshments and a big, party happening right in front of there. Unfortunately, COVID didn't allow that, but I assure you, we are really got our fingers crossed that the finale will be live and we'll have a lot of fun to do that. So are there any questions before we give you guys that link to move over to the other Zoom? I encourage all of you, if you do have questions, to obviously let us know. One of the magical things that you'll learn is that there is a person named Jen, who you may have seen pop up every once in a while. She is the backbone of your gated access to all the information that's come from here. I believe, Jen, your email is jenh@uci.edu. So if you have questions, it's jenh@uci.edu. So let me answer a couple of quick questions here, and then we'll send you over to that other Zoom room. First, would a concept like coaching, podcast, or manufacturing makeup products be a type of idea for the competition's looking for? Absolutely, right? The ideas don't have to be massively scalable. I want to create a metaverse, although those are cool, right? They don't have to be a new cardiovascular or something crazy like I can't even pronounce the words. Those are cool. Sometimes they're as simple as a subscription box for baby products, right? I take a bunch of baby products, put them in a box, and send them once a month to new moms, right? And Zarina won the competition and has gone on to great things through Long Beach Accelerator and Wayfinder and all these things, right? So yes, there are ways of doing that. If it's something that doesn't scale very well, you will get questions about, okay, great that you're a, you know, an influencer and a podcaster. How are you going to grow this beyond just your own little world, right? Where does this go? And that's a question you would, you know, fairly get asked. But certainly you can do it. Manufacturing makeup products, absolutely, especially if you're going into some of the new trends in makeup. Makeup is being disrupted right now, so it's that's certainly a field that's great. And the other question we'll answer here is, and before we let you go, is what are the tiers of winning? So again, there are 5 tracks, right, based upon the type of product or service you have. And then those tracks will each have a first and second place winner. And then there's a grand prize winner of all those first and second place winners, all 10 of them. One of them is going to walk away with an additional prize on top of their first or second place prize to get that. And so with that, I will say that we will share with you a new Zoom. Jen, hopefully you can put in the Zoom link so it's just a click for them. Thank you for coming. Thank you to all of our panelists, Dean Williamson, Stella, Professor Karim, Dan with the judging, and all of our past winners. Thank you for coming, being a part of this kickoff. We look forward to seeing you on Monday. Make sure you register, but let's take this over to the other Zoom so we can have a mixer. Thank you. Good night, everyone, and be safe.